Welcome into another edition of The Session with Londa and David. My name's David Austin, and sitting across from me, as always, is the prettiest girl I know in this black jacket-looking thing. Wow. Wow is all I can say about that.
Okay, thank you very much.
The Session with Londa and David is a business program brought to you each and every week by Sherwood Austin Solutions. With over 40 years of combined sales success, Sherwood Austin Solutions can help diagnose and prescribe solutions for any problems in your business. Listen to this. A lot of business consultants only focus on the bottom line. Sherwood Austin Solutions takes a holistic approach to make sure all of your goals are being met. Call Londa today at 509-491-2663 so she can sit down with the people who care about your company the most and brainstorm ways to make it more efficient, more financially successful, and an overall better place to work. Whether you're a restaurant or bar, you run sales teams, or you're a salesperson looking to up your goals, Sherwood Austin Solutions can help put the right plan in place for success and help you stay accountable. Call today, 509-491-2663. That's 509-491-2663 for Sherwood Austin Solutions. It's a great time to be in business. Why not be in business with us?
And since nobody remembers phone numbers, I can tell you this. You can email Londa at sherwoodaustin.com.
Okay. What is that one more time?
Londa at sherwoodaustin.com.
L-O-N-D-A?
L-O-N-D-A at sherwoodaustin.com.
Okay, there you go.
Email me. Let's do this. Let's get your business in a place where you need it to be.
Okay. There you go. There you have it. Yep. There it is. Okay, this week's program is kind of a combination of what we talked about on our terrestrial radio show last week, and that is service. This program, being a business program, we're going to focus more on the business aspects of service. We'll probably talk about customer service.
Oh, you bet.
We'll talk about how service makes your business more credible, and how treating people will actually not only improve your business, but will help you feel better.
Yep.
Let's jump right in, Londa.
All right. So as it turns out, serving other people, helping other people in whatever capacity really dramatically affects your physical health and your mental health. You will live longer. You will age slower. You will handle your stress better. I mean, if you're fully stressed out, and we know that 80% of you are, those are the latest numbers.
Right.
That 80% of you are stressed out or burned out about your work.
Yes.
The very best thing you can do to relieve your stress immediately is to do something for someone else.
I like that.
Go serve someone else in some capacity. And this could be volunteerism. I mean, it could be a number of things. It could be that you just do something nice for your neighbor.
Right.
It can be a lot of different things, but it's the idea of like getting outside of yourself and helping somebody else. Turns out lots of benefits for you.
I worked for a business once that we gave our hourly employees a handful of hours a week to go do community service where they were actually on the clock getting paid. One of the charities that we worked with was Habitat for Humanity. So this company actually paid my employees to go during their work time, like one day a month, to go volunteer at Habitat for Humanity's Restore, right? That's what they call their store where they sell their
retail
goods.
Sales
That's
outlet.
exactly right. And I got to tell you, those employees were happy and felt like they were doing something good. Now, we all worked in the mortgage industry, so it made sense that that was the charity we picked to help. But I got to tell you, business owners, help your employees be more successful by giving them the tools to have less stress, and that may be public service.
Well, and I'll tell you another thing, too. As a business owner or a team lead of any kind, if you can wrap some kind of charitable venture around your company, around your business, and here's what it does. There's all the psychological or all the physical and mental health benefits, right? But it's also this. Your employees, your team will see you're not all about yourself.
Right.
And that's really important.
Yeah.
Really, really important. Like, hey, being able to expand the vision kind of,
Sure.
of the people that you're working with or who work for you, super important because, excuse me, they can start telling themselves stories that, all they care about is making a profit for themselves, lining their own pockets, blah, blah, blah. Pretty hard to do that when you're paying employees one day a month to go volunteer somewhere.
Right. That's exactly right.
And hopefully it's a project that makes a lot of sense, that a lot of people can get behind and rally around, So there you go. There's something really important to do. And, sometimes people volunteer in their faith-based communities.
Sure.
And that's great. And I'd also encourage you to volunteer in other capacities too. I mean, just think about the things that you're really passionate and really excited about.
Right.
And, find those kind of things. I volunteered a lot of my time over the years with moms because momming was something I was really passionate about and deep in. And I know a lot about, running a household, running a home smoothly. And so that was something I volunteered a ton of my time doing. And that was one thing I loved about being involved with MOPS, which is Mothers of Preschoolers, is, being the gray hair at the table. You're the experienced mom where you've been there and you've done that and you can offer a unique perspective. And really, it's just, people just need encouragement,
Yes.
So this idea of service really encourages the people that you're serving. But the thing you don't always think about, and I'm just going to say it, if you're in business, it also encourages people to give you their money.
That's right. There are some really good books written by Andy Andrews about servant sales, about how if you give to the community is much more likely to give back to you.
Right.
And servant leadership is something I've been interested in my entire adult life.
Right.
Right. And so that is a very important part of what I do. My whole life, though, really, my whole life is based on being kind and kindness. And it's hard to not be a servant leader when that's your mainstay.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And the tendency is when I feel overwhelmed or stressed out, my tendency is to withdraw from the world.
Right.
And you've got to, for someone like me, if you're like me, you've got to really fight against that. For you, I would think your tendency would to be opposite of that.
Yeah.
If you're feeling really stressed out, you got to get out and do something for somebody and you will immediately feel better. And your brain naturally makes that connection. Mine doesn't. Mine says, pull in, protect yourself. It's you and you alone, and you've got to keep it together here.
Isn't it interesting that you never have to be alone again? You don't have to take things and hold them in and be all cloistered up because you've got a David.
Aw.
And you never have to be in that place again. I think that's awesome.
I do have a David. Inside my head, though, it still feels very alone at times,
Sure.
And so the remedy is do something for somebody.
Absolutely.
So circling back to what I said about it compels people to give their money to you.
Yeah.
This is where it comes in play in business. And listen, you can manipulate people, but I encourage you not to. Do everything with a good heart, with the right heart, really coming from a place of wanting to give people the best experience possible, help them out as much as possible. I mean, only your motivation, but let's not be ugly, But it is true that if you have a willingness to serve and it's obvious, then people are more willing to work with you. And let me use the easiest example on the face of the planet, and that is walking into a restaurant.
Yes.
Walk into a restaurant. If your staff is not well trained, you are missing out on dollars.
Yeah, you are.
If they are not and listen, it's a brief training. I can get them whipped up in 1 to 3 hours. Let me tell you.
Yes.
Whipped into shape.
I got to tell you something. We had a recent experience at a restaurant, and you told me that the food was exactly what you look for when you go out to eat.
Precisely.
I mean, exactly, right?
I mean, it was...
They are going to miss out on a lot of money, though, because their customer service is not exactly consistent. Here's what I mean by that. We walked in 5 minutes before they officially opened.
Which we didn't know. The front door was wide open.
And we followed a group of 8 ladies into the restaurant. So we weren't the first ones in there, right? One of the cooks said to us when we walked in, "Hey guys, hey." And we said, "Oh, hey, do we order here? What do we do?" And he said, "Yep, you order right there." And I said, "Okay." Well, so I stood at the counter after being warmly greeted by one of the chefs who's in right in my field of vision.
Yeah, because their kitchen's in the front.
Right?
Yeah.
There was a lady there who was their customer service person, who was the person who rings up the person who rings up the orders, because you order cafeteria style and then go find a table.
Right.
She looked at me like I was bothering her, like I was in her space, and she was pissed off about it because we were 4 minutes early for opening time. Finally, after seeing us and disregarding us and looking at us like we were garbage, that's how I felt. That was my impression.
You're not wrong.
She walks up to the counter and says, "Hey, look, I'll be with you guys in a second. We're not open yet." That's how she said hello. That's how she greeted us.
Yep.
The food could have been the greatest food ever made. I don't feel welcome there because of that experience.
Right.
Now, when it was time to order at 9:02, she finally came to the register for us to order, and my watch is set on the atomic clock. So I was standing there for 6 minutes before she finally was ready to serve us or to ask us what we wanted for breakfast. I had to work to get her to smile.
Right.
Not the other way around.
It was a lot of work. We were really trying to, I said, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I didn't know that you weren't open yet." The door was open and we've never been here before. So we just came right in with the open door. Not a, "Oh, that's okay. Oh, I'm so glad you found us. Oh, don't worry about it. I'm just a little stressed because, we had so many people in here, right?"
These 8 ladies walked in right before you. I get
Nothing.
it. I get it if you're stressed. Nothing.
Dead face.
Yep. Dead.
Move on to the next thing.
Now, the person who was the food runner, again, happy, cheery, fun. That's why I say they don't have consistency in their customer service. The cook who greeted us when we came in acted like we were his best friends.
Right.
The lady who ran our food to our table acted like we were her best friends.
They need to put her at the front.
That chick running the register ruined the entire experience for me and made me feel unwelcome, and I don't ever want to go back. But you like the food so much, I'm going to have to.
No, you won't, because they prepared food like I like to cook.
Right.
So getting the food I thought was spectacular. You didn't think it was that great, but it was okay.
It was just not for me. I like trashy morning breakfast food. I don't like artsy breakfast food.
I don't like artsy breakfast food. I like fresh though, fresh. It was just so good.
You got pickled beets along with your breakfast.
That was my side.
It was artsy breakfast.
My side was pickled beets, and I couldn't have been happier about it. But we won't go back unless someone invites us to go specifically to that restaurant. It's not a chain. It's a local
It's a local
deal.
They make things from scratch there.
And we won't go back because of that one person who I suspect is either a manager or owner. I think that's the part that breaks my heart the most.
I think it's probably a manager or owner, yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
So that's really unfortunate. And that's what we're saying about if your front line is not well trained.
You're missing money.
Or if you're the owner or manager and you have a shitty attitude, you're losing money for your facility.
That's exactly right.
What are you doing? Well, I mean, what happened to leave your garbage at the back door?
Right.
And now you're on.
That's right.
Right?
You're on.
I mean,
it's a performance piece. If you are working in a restaurant, you have a performance job.
Yep.
So put on a show, because that's what we expect. We expect someone to smile and greet us happily and warmly. We expect someone to anticipate our needs.
Right.
We expect someone who is going to smile and be glad we're there.
Right.
Exactly the opposite of that happened in that experience, and that's too bad.
It is, but this is I want to say, in anything that you do, really make sure that you are putting your best foot forward. Now, but Londa, things happen and bad stuff happens, and am I just supposed to pretend? No. You're supposed to remember something about your life is good.
Right. That's exactly right.
Something is good about your life. Oh, you don't know my life. Nothing's good about my life. Are you breathing?
Yeah.
Are you on this side of the dirt? Then you still have opportunity. So something about your life is still good. So I'm not suggesting you pretend like everything's okay. Here's what I am suggesting. When the people that you're working with, your customers, your clients can tell that you are having a bad day, it's not good for business. It's not good for business.
That's
period,
exactly right.
Point blank.
Take a mental health day. Get that girl that's running food to work the register. Do something.
Yep. And we had a similar experience recently, and we're giving you these examples to make you think about your own stuff.
And we're not naming the restaurant because I don't want to condemn them. They have a good product. They have a really good reputation.
Well, we're kind, and so we don't want to do that.
This is an example, though, of how you can lose forever money.
Yes.
Because I will never say to any person ever, hey, let's go to this place. It's so welcoming.
Right.
Because one of the employees, the one who happened to take my money, was unwelcoming.
Right.
That's a mistake.
Right. It's like a restaurant that opens before they should.
Right.
Yeah.
And
then people make excuses like, well, it was their first day. You've got, and I grew up in restaurants, right? So I'm a little partial to this subject, but you've got one chance to make a first impression.
That's right.
Whether it's a restaurant or anything.
Sure.
When I go and I sit down with a potential buyer or seller for real estate, I have one chance to make a first impression. And by the way, that chance already happened on the phone before I ever made the appointment.
That's right.
One opportunity. So those skills for that one opportunity need to be razor sharp. And we have a podcast that we did about that previously. I think it's called Customer Service.
Yep.
And you can go back and listen to that and get your skills. We dropped a ton of really good content on step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, so I won't get into that, but I'll give you a hot tip: smile and act like you're glad to be there and you're glad they are there.
You don't have to be glad to be there, but you do have to be glad that your customers are there, because that's what pays for your lifestyle.
Right.
So smile and greet your customers warmly. Here's the thing that fast food restaurants have done forever, by the way. They say things and have signs like, thank you kindly. And I've always joked, if somebody's thanking me, I like it if they're kind, but are we really supposed to give them stage direction? Well, yes, thank you kindly. It's simple. It's written on a plaque behind the person taking my order's head.
Right.
That makes my brain say, oh, they're being very kind to me. Thank you kindly.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's easy. It's psychology. Don't come to work pissed off to be there if you're in a customer service job, because that will show.
Another great podcast that we did previously that you may want to look up is called The Psychology of Sales.
Right.
And those two will fit right in with this one.
Yep.
Another situation that we had as an example is we went into a business that had recently opened that we thought, hey, the next time our kids come to town, we want to take them to this business because we think they would really like it. We walk in the door, and I'm telling you, almost from the jump, I was trying to figure out how to get out of there, because the person who greeted us is also the owner,
right? Who
stood there and did nothing but complain about how he was missing $3,000 worth of inventory.
That's exact. I remember
that was supposed to be on the shelf, and how upset he was, and we kept talking to, because we want to be supportive.
Right.
We want to, and we were like
local business, shop local,
empathizing with the situation, and then trying to get off it, like get him talking about the business. So tell us about this, and so do you do this here, and tell us more about it. And I'll be damned if he didn't keep circling back to the $3,000 worth of inventory that was missing, that was going to screw up his whole thing. And I thought, I can't wait to get out of here, and I'll never come back.
Right. Yep. And I bet you $50 that inventory showed up on the next truck.
Well, whether it did or not is frankly not my problem.
Right.
And we're taking...
Why would you say that to a customer? You don't know that we run a business podcast. You don't know that we own a consulting firm. You don't know that we have a radio show. We didn't say any of that.
No.
Just opening up like,
right.
Today's the day to complain to strangers. And I bet he told that story to every
single person that
who
came
walked in his business that day. And that is a recipe to fail.
For sure.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
So I think the moral of the story here is smile. Don't make your personal problems the problems of your customer.
Right.
You told me this once about not working on your trauma on stage.
Yeah, you don't work out your trauma on stage.
That's exactly right. Well, you're in a performance job if you are in any kind of customer service arena. So perform.
Right.
And I hate to say it that way, but that's the truth.
And what we're saying is, and I want to say it again, I said it before, it bears repeating. We're not talking about fake it till you make it.
Right.
We're not talking about just pretend. We're talking about, listen, there is something in your life that is still good, even when shit is falling apart. We get it. Shit falls apart for us too. All the time, especially me. You're kind of happy-go-lucky with your head in the clouds.
Kind of a doofus.
But I feel the weight of the world all the time. Yeah. I feel stressed out all the time. I have to purpose to do things so that I'm not functioning in that all the time. And one of the things I do, for example, is practice gratitude. Right. Thinking about the things, I'm telling you, if you don't keep a gratitude journal of some kind, or, text, have a gratitude accountability partner that if you can use your partner you live with, but maybe it's a best friend you don't live with, and you can text them 2 or 3 things that you're grateful for every night. Like something where you're expressing your gratitude science proves will absolutely change your state. Sure. And change the way that you look at life. And, I came up in sales in a time where they did teach fake it till you make it. Right. And that never sat well with me while I did do it, because that's what I was trained to do. But I've learned since that I don't have to fake it till I make it, because there is always something to be grateful for. There is always something in my life that is good, that's going well. That's right. Sometimes you've got to trick your brain into thinking about it. And I get that because I'm one of those people. Yes. I have to force my brain into that place, but I don't. Listen, life is heavy enough. Don't put your heavy stuff on your clients and your customers. Right. There's no room for that. There's no room for that. And nobody's ever said, ooh, I want to go back to this place, or I want to work with so-and-so again. Do you know why? Because they dumped all their drama and all their garbage on me when we were talking. Oh my God. I went to this restaurant and it was just okay. But that lady at the front desk was so mean and made me feel like I didn't belong there. Let's go back. Right? That's not a conversation that you're ever going to hear. Now, if we were normal people and not people who are business consultants and maybe someday may help consult this business, we would be telling all the bad stuff. We would, for sure. Oh, we'd be saying the name. We'd be telling everyone. Yep. All I can say is, boy, they missed an opportunity with me personally. They really missed an opportunity. Yeah, because you're a sucker and you love to eat out. And I love to and because I love local, the food so much. And I love to have it nearby where I live, work, play, and pray. Mm-hmm. I will only go back if you make me. Wow. And that's too bad. Now, on the flippity, we went to a place and I will name it because it's a great story, the Acadiana Center for the Arts. Yep, we sure did. In downtown Lafayette, Louisiana, which, David Michael, if you're listening, the next time you're in town, we are taking you there. He'll love it. Oh, it is your kind of deal. We walk in. First of all, it's a gorgeous facility. Absolutely beautiful. Floor to ceiling glass in a seating area right next to a coffee bar. That where they will make coffees for you, and they're dirt cheap.
Like they're giving them away on the street corner to chimps.
I mean, we got an Americano, and it was really good and so affordable.
Yes,
and super friendly staff members, very helpful, very warm, very inviting. The facility itself, beautiful,
right.
But it was the feeling, and that's the moral of the story.
Right.
For any kind of marketing is any kind of interaction that you have with potential customer, a potential client. You've got to think about how you want them to feel.
Yes.
When they hear from you, when they're with you, when they leave you, what kind of feelings do you want to leave them with?
I gotcha.
You know, and this is one reason why people love working with you, David, because when they leave you, they always feel better. They always feel like they're happier, they feel better about life, and they know you're going to solve their problem.
That's exactly right. That's the goal. Sometimes in my industry, in lending, sometimes it's painful to make the loan work.
Right.
We always make it work. And, you know, I can count literally on half of one hand 2 customers that have given me bad reviews, and it's because something went wrong and I solved the problem. They weren't happy, but they got their house.
Right.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely.
You don't get reviews from people who don't close a loan, by the way, FYI. So if either one of those 2 deals that gave me bad reviews in the last 18 years of lending had not worked, then I wouldn't have gotten a review at all.
Right.
So I'd rather take a couple bad reviews than lose business, right?
Yep.
And that's it. I can think of 2 or 3 maybe people that left me feeling worse about me than they did before.
Right. Yeah.
And it's usually outside of my control.
Right.
Yeah.
And, you know, a couple of the greatest compliments I've ever been given is from customers and clients. Is you get shit done.
That's true. There's no messing around.
You want somebody to get it done. You need to get it done. She can get it done.
She does too. Boy, I'll tell you.
And the other one is you made it so calm. The process was so calm, or you're so calm. Being in your presence is so calming. Like we didn't feel the stress.
Right.
You know?
Who told us that the other day about you?
Anita Begno.
That's exactly right. That's right. I love being around Londa because every time I'm around her, I feel so calm. She makes me feel safe.
I could die today having heard that. There is no greater compliment to me. It's even greater than she gets it done.
Right.
For someone to say they felt calm and safe in my presence, forget it.
Well, you are usually the smartest person in the room, and everybody can tell.
No.
Everybody can tell.
No.
There's no fear behind your eyes, yet you don't have dead eyes. A lot of people who have no fear have dead eyes. They look like there's nothing going on at all, and that's why they have no fear. You have no fear because you've done research. You've looked at the way the situation is before you walked in the room.
While that is true, generally I have no fear because I feel like, listen, what's the worst thing that could happen here? I could crash and burn. Do you know how many times I've crashed and burned and had to come back from it? Please. That's like a well-exercised muscle in my life.
I like that.
Yeah.
And meanwhile, I have no fear because I'm way too goofy. I'm just heads in the cloud. Everything's going to be great. So I don't have room for fear.
Right. Yeah.
You know?
And it doesn't serve anyone.
That's exactly right. Especially in a customer service environment.
Yep.
Fear does not help. I got news for you. If you've got bad news for a customer, like say their food didn't come out on time and there's bad news, deliver the news.
Happened.
That did happen.
Tell that story.
Well, we were at a restaurant called Another Broken Egg, and we were sitting there for a while, drinking coffee, talking. It was right after our radio show, so the time flies by when we get off the air, and we talk about what we just did on the show. So we didn't notice that half an hour or so had already gone by.
What I did notice is I thought, wait a minute, I'm on my third cup of coffee.
So finally, Londa says, hey, I'm going to run to the restroom. And I noticed that a couple tables that came in after us had their food. The waitress comes out of the kitchen while Londa's in the restroom, and I don't think the timing has anything to do with it. But she says to me, hey, I'm not a good liar. Something happened. I must have done it. Your ticket was lost in the kitchen. So your meal's going to be on us. And what she did was she gave us Be Our Guest cards to come back another time.
Right.
But I don't know how I did it, but somehow your ticket was lost. It's going to be right up. I just wanted you to know that this is my fault. And then she turned around and left. And I got news for you. I will go back there forever, because not only did she make me feel important, she took full responsibility for the problem. And it might not be her problem. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
But we're her table, and our happiness is on her.
Yes.
And
we've all done that. We've all thrown ourselves under the bus, and it wasn't our fault. So that I've had deals as a realtor. Yeah. Where it was totally the lender's fault. Right. They dropped not you, but they dropped the ball. Right. They screwed it up. And now I've got a mess. It's delayed only 2 days. No big deal. 2-day delay. Well, there's moving trucks that were scheduled and they're already out of their house and they're all this stuff. I've never thrown another a business partner under the bus.
Well, no, that's inappropriate.
I just say, this is awful. How can I help you in the best way possible get through this?
Sure.
Yep. And you come up with solutions. She did a great job. Kim at Another Broken Egg. She, just came out, told us what the deal was. Our food was up pretty quick after that.
Like 2 minutes
They did
after
it on
that.
the fly, But she also did something else. She told us what happened, took responsibility, got our food up to us very quickly after that, gave us the 2 cards for free meals when we come back again, which is smart. Get them back in the door.
Right.
So don't comp today's meal. Give them meals for the future to get them back in the door to have another chance. But you said, hey, these city grits, what's that's exactly all about? Right. And she said, and she explained the difference between regular grits and the city grits. And you said, I'm going to have to try that next time I come in. I kid you not, 1 minute later, she was at our table with a dish of those city grits. So that's an example of she went above and beyond. Right. That is an unusual employee who has a sense of ownership over that place, which is highly unusual. But wow, what a wonderful experience.
Great customer service. Could have been terrible because of the incident in the kitchen.
Right.
Could have been terrible. And instead, she's got a lifelong customer.
Turned it around.
Very different than the place that makes food the way you like it. But boy, do they have an attitude at the register.
Well, and I'll tell you this, not only will we go back to Another Broken Egg, I'll ask for Kim.
Yeah. There you go.
And you're a big fat tipper.
So. I tipped her $10 on our breakfast the day that our ticket got lost in the kitchen, just because she was so good.
Yeah.
She took ownership, and she's our girl. She's waited on us twice now, and when we go in there, we should ask for her. Well, I think this has been a good show.
I think it's been great.
It became more about customer service than anything else, but that's just because we had a couple of really good and really bad experiences.
Well, again, if you're smart, you'll listen to this, then you'll listen to our podcast titled Customer Service, and you'll listen to the podcast titled The
Science of Sales.
So I think that's what it's called.
I think that is what it's called.
The Psychology of Sales.
The Psychology of Sales. That's
something
exactly
like that.
Right.
If you put all 3 of them together, you'll be on your way.
Now you got a stew.
Yep.
It's kind of like City Grits, which have everything in them. That's why they're City Grits. They were great, by the way, at Another Broken Egg. This has been The Session with Londa and David. We can't wait to come back and do this again with you next week. And it'll again be brought to you by Sherwood Austin Solutions. Call Londa today if you need help. 509-491-2663. 509-491-2663.
Or email.
We'll see you next week.